Good evening, Dana.
Good evening, Mirit.
As much as a good evening it can be. For the sake of the people that have already joined us, thank you very much. I'll start. Okay. So, hi, my name is Mirit Hoffman. I'm an elder law lawyer and a gerontologist, and we've decided to do this Zoom because of this horrible, really isn't a very better word, situation that we are in at the moment, which affects everybody, I'm sure, and affects people with dementia as well, and maybe differently. And the idea behind this conversation is to know how to handle the situation that we're in with the people, with our loved ones or people that we know that have dementia. And Dr. Dana Pe'el graciously agreed to discuss this issue with me this evening. It was something that we just decided on the spur of the moment. So thank you very, very much, Dr. Pe'el. I really appreciate it. Dr. Pe'el is a gerontologist. She's an OT and a dementia care specialist. Why don't you start, Dana?
Okay, so sadly, tragically, we are in this situation and we are totally unprepared for everything that's going on. And I think it's important to discuss how to handle ourselves and how to cope with all that's going on, especially in the context of dementia, which is challenging on every day of the year. And some days are more challenging than others, but now even more so. And the anxiety is very high. And if it's high for me, it's high for the person with dementia also. And how I behave as a caregiver greatly affects what is going on in the house, how they feel, how they perceive the situation. So what I want to do is give some recommendations. I'm going to start with things that you should not do. But fortunately, it's a short list. And then we'll go on to things that you can do and you should do. I believe in being proactive rather than telling you don't do this and don't do that. So I'll just go ahead and start with that. And if there are questions or something, we'll discuss this later. Okay. So the number one thing that has been the recommendation for everyone, okay, not just for caregivers, but for myself as well. And my son just left for going to the Army. He was drafted this morning, is not to watch TV all the time, not to be on the news, to get an update like every few hours or so, not to have the TV on all the time. I think it's really important in the context of dementia because people with dementia, when you have the TV on all the time, the same clips are running over and over and over. And I know that because my memory is fine, let's say, but they don't remember that. So for them, seeing the same people fleeing or the same people with guns over and over each time, it can be a new experience that is terrifying. Okay, so I think not to have the TV on all the time, not even on silent. Okay, even if when you do have the volume on, mostly the people are shouting at each other or cutting into each other, trying to get out what their message is. So if possible, I would have the TV off most of the day, only for short periods of time, turn it off. If you feel the need to be in touch all the time and to be updated constantly, try to do it on the phone, which is smaller and not in the middle of the living room. And the person with dementia will have a more difficult time seeing that. But like I mentioned, what we've been told by psychologists, by therapists, that in the past day or so is like, you got to get out of there. You cannot be in there all the time. It is not good for our mental health. It makes us feel we're in control, as if we're participating somehow in what's going on, but it's not true. And it is affecting us in a very negative way. So it's the first thing I would say, get out of the TV. I have been practicing this myself, even though, like I said, my son was drafted this morning, so my anxiety is quite high. Another thing I would suggest, especially in the context of dementia, is do not give out too much information. The person with dementia is not going to remember or retain the content of the information that you give. They may remember there's something anxious, okay? Something is happening that their anxiety level should be even greater than it was 10 minutes ago. And they're not going to remember what you said. So only the bare minimum of information that has to do with actions. Okay, we need to go to someplace. We need to get out of the house. We need to go here. We need to do this or whatever. And really to the bare minimum. And in a minute, I'll just also talk about how to convey this information. Also, like people who live in the South, but also now in the North, which is also sadly heating up, as they say, there are going to be alarms. The alarms are not over. Also in Tel Aviv, in Yerushalayim, in Rishon LeZion, we've seen this in the past day. So you should have a plan what to do when the alarm goes off, okay? We all should have a plan. But we don't need to share this plan with the person with dementia who is not going to remember it anyways, and then being upset with them that they don't remember, but you told them what to do and they're not doing it. That's just going to make you more irritated and anxious and just negative all around. So sharing the plan of what to do is not something I would do with a person with dementia, even if you think they are in the early stages of dementia. It's not a relevant contingency plan that I would do. Those are the things I wouldn't do. Miri, do you want to ask something?
If I can just one thing, I think also if we can mention the horrible, difficult videos that are been coming up now recently, I actually would recommend nobody watches them because it's not doing good to anybody. And al-khat kama v'kama to people who have dementia who really are not going to understand what's going on. It's petrifying as is. I have 3 boys at the moment. So I don't watch any of them. It's not going to do any good to me. I'm sure it's not going to do any good to the person who has dementia.
I completely agree. I think I mistakenly, fleetingly saw something and it's been haunting me. So I am not watching it because it's not good for my mental health. It's definitely not good for a person with dementia who can develop paranoid delusions after watching something like this, or hallucinations, and that is not something that we can get rid of later. Okay, this is it's the grounds for making things much, much worse. So do anything you can to avoid the graphic clips or the graphic pictures. It's not going to do any good. It can only do much, much harm. So we want to definitely, what you're suggesting, I totally support this. Okay, I'd like to continue and talk about things that we should do. Okay, how can we do this? Like I mentioned before, when we do want to have a plan, if we need to do something, we want to move from one place to another, whether it's inside the house, from the room that we're in, the living room, we have to go to the mamad or the whatever it is, the stairwell, the bathroom, whatever has been designated as your safe space when there's an alarm. Do not say it in, well, there's an alarm, it's dangerous here, we have to go somewhere else. Instead, try to practice in your head how to say this ahead of time. It'll be something, okay, we have to go to this room, we have to go to the bedroom. My point is trying to avoid words like not safe or dangerous or something that could hurt us or something bad will happen to us here. Spin it off, okay? And this takes, I know, a lot of practice. I've been doing this for a while, so I can do this easily, but practice it in your head. Say, we're going somewhere else. Doesn't have to say the word safe. We're just going to go to the living room. We're going to the mamad. We're going to the bedroom for a few minutes, okay? And if you have to move for whatever reason, because some places people are moving from the south to the center, from the north to the center, fine. But I would not try to spin it as it's dangerous here, we have to go somewhere safe, but rather we're going, I'm coming with you, we're going together, we'll be safe. That's it. Okay, you don't have to say this is really dangerous, the terrorists are coming, there's going to be alarms. Don't get into all the information around it. Try to use positive language as much as possible. Because you're going to be saying it over and over again. Okay, it's not like it's dementia. You're not going to say it one time and everybody's going to, oh yeah, let's do that. It doesn't work that way. Even if you're in the safe space where you're staying, you're going to have to say, We're in a safe space. We're staying here now. Later we'll go there. Keep saying it's dangerous, it's dangerous, it's dangerous. They're not going to be willing to leave that safe place. Okay. And if you're in the stairwell, you have a problem then getting them back into the house. So I would emphasize now we're in a safe place, or we're going to a safe place, rather than saying it's dangerous to do that. Okay. Because we have to stay here. Okay. And the answer to for how long is, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. As long as we need to, not more than that, because even if you give like a time frame, I don't think the person with dementia will really remember or be able to, relate to a certain time frame, like, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, because we know that the sense of time changes in dementia. But even more important than what we say is how we say it. The number one thing that a person with dementia picks up in communication between people is the body language, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, and our hand gestures. Okay, so if you want to direct a person to go somewhere, use your hands. Don't just say, go out, go left, go to the bedroom. Show them where it is. Point in that direction. Move your body in that direction. And yes, if we're irritated, I know it can be extremely difficult to smile. And it's so important, okay, because that they're going to pick up on, even if they don't understand a word that we say. They're going to pick up on the body language, and that's what they're going to imitate, and that's what they're going to do as well. It's called an emotional contagion. Okay, my emotions, they can catch on it, and they're going to catch the emotion that I convey with my body language. So I want to be very conscious of how I'm doing it, not just what I'm saying.
I'm assuming it's the same with every leader. If you were in the same space like your boss, let's say, take it somewhere else, and he needs everybody to go somewhere, if he shows a positive or even just concrete words without showing too much emotion, people will do the same. If he gets all hysterical, people will act the same. So this is the same idea.
Exactly. Yeah. In a way, each of us is a leader in our own home.
Exactly.
It's our own private group. We're leading them. Even if it's just one person that makes it a two, we're a group. Yes, I agree. That's true. But for people, that are like designated leaders, they have like this mind frame. But when it's just me and the person of dementia that I'm taking care of may not be thinking that way. And I really like the metaphor that you proposed. Think of it in a way as like, you're the boss of the situation. This is your team. You have to take care of them. You're leading them. It's a really good way to think about it, because it makes us like remove ourselves like, a step back. And how am I going to lead the team?
Right. You remove yourself maybe a little bit emotionally from the situation. Mm-hmm. Try. It's very much easier to say it than to actually do it.
So much. Mm-hmm.
Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, when you hardly know what the hell is going on. But I think, that's what is probably the best way to portray it.
Mm-hmm. And the next part of that would be to practice calming techniques for yourself. Okay, because sure, I want to calm the person with dementia, but first of all, I have to calm myself down. Now, I'm sure everybody knows that saying to somebody else, calm down, dementia, no dementia, doesn't matter, it never works. You don't say that. All you do is get people more irritated. So what does work, what we know works, is deep breathing. And I know people like, no, I'm not into yoga, new age and stuff. And it has nothing to do with yoga. It's physiology, plain and simple. Okay. It's called the vagal technique of breathing. We have a vagus nerve, which is one of our cranial nerves that goes right into the brain, but it's all over the body. It's the longest nerve we have in our body. And it goes through our throat, through our throat and into our digestive system, even all the way to our feet. And when we breathe deeply, then the vagal nerve is active, and it calms us down, because we have two, let's say, nerve branches of the nervous system. One is the fight or flight mode, which we all know of, freeze, which is basically what's going on outside. And the only way to calm that mode, that part of the nervous system, is to activate the vagus nerve, to bring it all down. And the easiest way to activate the vagus nerve is to breathe deeply. Also will work laughing, singing, humming, gargling water, because like I said, it passes through here. Anything you do here to change the vibe will work, just to activate it. But deep breathing, which is like a deep breath through your nose, like you're smelling a flower, and then a deep breath out, like you're trying to blow out the candles on a birthday cake, like long and make it loud and noisy. That's what works. And I do have to say, you have to do at least 4 of these, probably more, but I'm saying the minimum is 4 before you can say, yeah, it doesn't work. You have to do at least 4 to 6. And that works. And it's not a matter of whether you believe it or not. It's physiology. That's the way the human body, the human brain works. So I highly recommend, if and when we are feeling highly anxious, very, very frightened, concentrate on the breathing such a way it works. Now, in dementia, this will also work on the person that you are taking care of, because people with dementia may not be able to follow verbal instructions, but since we talked about the body language, mostly they will be able to imitate what you are doing. So if you say, do like I do, and then, melodramatically raise your arms and then
breathe
they
in,
will join you.
Right.
They will join you.
That's excellent. That's excellent advice. And you know what? Even if they join you and then get the giggles, then we've done it as well. So
that's great. Giggling is wonderful.
Exactly.
It's the best thing to do.
Accomplished the mission. So yeah.
Exactly right. It's excellent. To get us out of the fight or flight mode, and it works. Okay. And I mean, especially in dementia, because if I talk to my son and I say, okay, take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out, it works just by giving him the verbal instructions when he has like an anxiety attack or something. But with dementia, it's not going to work. So it's important for us to do it, and it will help us calm down and help the person with dementia that is with us to calm down. It's like the best thing that you can do. So I really recommend remembering this.
Advice. Really great advice. Thank you.
Okay, so the last 2 things I would want to say, point out is, well, going outside is good if you can, okay? If possible, it's difficult, it's challenging, I know, but getting sunlight through our eyes is very important for our sleep-wake cycle. So if you can go out in the morning, that's the best time to go out, to get some sunshine. It makes us feel better, again, at a physiological level, okay? It doesn't matter whether you believe what I say or not. I have science behind me. I only bring things that are been scientifically proven. And the exposure to sunlight in the morning is very important for sleep at night, and for our mood, and for the vitamin D that we all need to have being activated. So we have a lot of sun. Today was kind of cloudy. It still counts. Turns out you don't have to have this direct sunlight, even if you just go outside when it's cloudy. Try to get some time outside. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for the person with dementia. A lot of people have been mentioning that it's really good to keep a schedule. And I totally agree. But if the person with dementia does not want to get out of bed, they don't have to get out of bed, okay? Like, a schedule is a great idea. But if it doesn't happen, don't lose sleep over it. Don't get upset about it. Don't get nervous about it, because it's good to have, but it's not something you need to have. And if you're constantly pushing them and bickering and fighting with them, get out of bed, go here, do this, it's just making things worse. So let it go. Like, I highly recommend having a schedule. It's great. It's not working, let it go. It's not a big deal. And the last point, also something like this, would be food. Let people eat whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want. Like, this is the sort of advice I often give in regular days with dementia, because, people prefer sweets. Let them eat whatever they want. I need comfort food, okay? They need comfort food. You need comfort food. Everybody needs comfort food. So trying to eat healthy is not part of my agenda these days. Who cares? Okay, now we know that this war is going to take a while, but it's not going to be forever. It's going to pass. Things will get much more stable. They will change. We'll get back to some kind of normal. Don't know what, but there will be some kind of normal. So then we'll get back to eating our regular healthy diet, okay? But right now, just eat whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Right. It's not something that you should, argue about. Use,
Exactly. Just let it go. It's such a non-issue at this point. I really wouldn't be worried about it.
It's really great advice. I have some questions. What about I'm just trying to think, if I take the leader position that I was talking about before, if somebody says, I'm really afraid, and you say, you know what, I'm afraid too, but we're going to be together on this, or something that sort of, is that also a good idea to share your feelings with them?
Definitely. I think sharing feelings and feeling that people feel that they're not alone in their fear is very important. Especially for old people who have been in this country for many years. They've been through several wars. I myself I'm only 50. I've been like through two wars that I was here. And that I remember. I was here for the Yom Kippur War, but I remember nothing because I was a year old in the hospital. They threw me out because they had to bring in the wounded soldiers. So I've been there. My mother remembers that, obviously. I don't. But the people, Israelis who live here for so many years, we have experience. Okay, we know what it's been like. We know what it's like. This is different, but a war is basically high anxiety for a while. And I think if it's possible, I would try to allow them to comfort me. Okay, if you don't ask, okay, what is your experience? What did you do before? What helps you? How can we get through this? Things like that. Okay, because I'm sure people remember what happened in the Second Lebanon War in 2006. Okay, so what happened? What helped us then? What made us feel better? What kind of experience do you have? And obviously, not everyone with dementia will be able to share their experiences, but I think a lot of them may be able to give some sort of sharing that what they did do. I remember I was working in a nursing home at that time in the Second Lebanon War, and we were very stressed out, the staff. And all my residents were like, it's a war, don't worry about it. We'll get through it somehow. And like, really? Everybody was, the old people were like, yep, been there, done that. Don't worry, it's hard, it's difficult, but we'll get through it. We've been through this, we'll be through another one. And in a way, it was comforting for us because, you say people, okay, this is not, sadly, it's not the first time. It's probably not going to be the last time. But you say, okay, people have been through such ordeals and they've come out through the ordeals. They can give you something that you don't have yet. They have experience that we don't have. So
does it not give them some sort of maybe sense of control when they are the ones comforting you?
Yes, definitely.
Helps them sort of feel, okay, I'm in control of a little bit of the situation because I'm actually doing something for her. Usually she does the opposite for me, if they remember it all.
Even the word caregiver puts the people that we are taking care of in a place of accepting, of being the ones who are constantly receiving. Right. And generally in life, we all like to be in the position of giving. Right. I'd rather be in a position where I give to someone else rather than have to accept or receive something from them. And I think allowing for those moments even of changing the roles a bit, that the caree, it becomes a person who can give something. It does good for the relationship and it does good for the persons themselves. So if you can encourage that, I would.
Okay. And is there something you can tell us about if there's, let's say, a foreign worker in the proximity at the home together? Is there something that you would like to say that we as the caregivers or the family members should know how to deal with, or should say something to him or her? Is there something that we should, I don't know, inform them of the situation, explain what's going on a little bit so that they know how to handle it as well?
Well, since we speak Hebrew and we can get the information from the news, the regular TV news, and let's say it's pretty much reliable information. The English-speaking channels, I am going to give them mostly credit, but I'm not sure how reliable the information there is, or how up to date it is. I would recommend that families that have foreign workers who are probably very inexperienced and scared and frightened, and it always looks the worst from abroad. I'm sure their families are hysterical, and panicking and talking to them and telling them, get out of there and you got to leave the country. Like, it always seems the worst from far away, and much, much worse than it seems to us when we're actually here. I think the families of the people with dementia that are being taken care of need to be in contact, in touch, and several times a day via text messages or whatever, to bring up to date, to ask how they're doing, to see what they can help and what they can assist, what the foreign worker needs, what can make them feel better. It's just like such a terrible situation. Even my parents used to live in the US, and there was an intifada, the second one, and I was right in the army, and they were hysterical. I was like, it's not that bad. Why are you so hysterical? But it always looks much, much worse from far away. And Israel looks very, very small on the map. So everyone thinks that everything is going on at the same time, but it's not that small. Right. So I'm sure that the families of the foreign workers are very, very concerned, very worried, and calling them, or maybe pressuring them to do something, or to go here or not go there. And it's very challenging to be between these pressures. One is the side, you have to help the caregiver, the person that you're taking care of, the person with dementia. On the other hand, your family is hysterical and telling you, do this, do that. And like, you're like caught up in both different directions. You don't know really what to do. And the families here of the people with dementia really do have a responsibility to try and alleviate those tensions and that pressure.
Okay. And the last thing is just from small personal experience that I had today at the supermarket. I think some physical contact is always good, like a hand on the shoulder or a hug or some sort of comforting physically wise. I think that would help even with people with dementia. I think they need that as much as anybody else does.
I agree. I would be careful with where, okay? I would not necessarily go with a hug or a hand on the back, because that might surprise them. And when a person with dementia is surprised, the chances of you getting hit are much higher. Okay. So always approach from the front. And I would suggest a handshake. Start with a handshake. Okay, just put your hand out for a handshake. And if they take it, that means you can come in closer, and maybe touch them on the, I always say between the shoulder and the hand, that's the safe space. Everywhere else I'm not sure what they're feeling at that moment. We have to be careful. Okay, so definitely not on the head or on the back. Like I said, touch this area, the shoulder to the hand. And when we do that, the deep touch, okay, deep pressure is better than light. Like, don't, like caress them. That's not so good. More like a massage. Just put your hand and hold it there, but be careful not to squeeze your fingers, close around the hand, but to use this part of your hand. Okay, this is the part that gives the pressure, because we tend to do like that, and that can cause their skin oftentimes is very fragile, and it can tear the skin. And we did the opposite of what we wanted to. So if we do want to give some sort of deep pressure, which it really does calm the nervous system, then we want to be sure to use this part of our hand and not our fingers. Okay, even if you just, like this, it's good enough.
Okay, well, that's good. I didn't know that, so that's very good. Well, anything else, Dana, that you'd like to share with us?
I just hope things get back to a stable environment soon.
Yeah, as we all safe that our soldiers are safe, that the victims are returned to us, and to everybody that is helping us stay alive here in this country. Thank you very, very much for agreeing to this. It was
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's very important to get out these messages any way we can.
Yeah.
And of course, if people want to be in touch, you can add my personal contact. If people have questions, whether it's the foreign workers or the families of the people with dementia, I feel free to contact me, whether it's by email or by phone. I'm available to assist in any possible way.
Perfect. So I'll put your email and your phone number on the,
right.
Okay, perfect. I'll add that to the comments on this Facebook. This is a live, but it stays on my page. People who didn't have time to watch it, please do so. And if this was beneficial to you, then share it with others who it might be beneficial for them as well. Thank you very much, Dana. And
bye
have
for
a
now.
quiet night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.